Smooth 98.1. Here we are going past 6:30 for a Feel Good Friday. And of course, the Feel Good Fridays on Smooth Breakfast between 6:15 and 6:30 are for Tech Friday on Business Express. Joining me for the next 15 minutes is, of course, Rotus. Good morning.
Good morning, Sope. Good morning to all our listeners. Good morning to our guests as well.
Yes, speaking of our guest, Obinna Osuji, who's the Chief Executive Officer at Medismarts Limited, joins us for these 15 minutes. Good morning, Obinna. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Sope. Great to be here.
Thank you for joining us. All right, and you too can join us. Join the conversation up on WhatsApp. Send your number into 080. Send your message into 0809 444 We are already streaming live on youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. You can join the conversation in the live comments on that platform. And you can also tag us in your tweets at smooth981FM. All right, so we're going to be talking about improving health insurance delivery through technology. Fantastic thing to talk about on the Tech Friday. Where do we get started?
I guess we can start with Obinna helping us out with why health insurance penetration is still so low. Obinna, we've been lamenting this 1%. In fact, I think 1% is for insurance in total. Maybe healthcare is even, so why are these numbers still so low?
Yeah, so it's a combination of factors, and the first starts with the government, really. Health insurance was really designed under the NHIS scheme to be available to all Nigerians. Most people don't know this, but it's actually supposed to be available to every Nigerian. And I guess maybe funding and some other challenges has kind of prevented it from achieving full scale. And then with the revised NHIA Act, we now have states, who play a major role going forward. So health insurance in Nigeria today has really just been driven mostly by the private sector. And, the private sector, you have corporates who are paying for health insurance for their staff. And that makes up, a very tiny population when you consider that Nigeria has over 200 million people. So when you break it down, then you have the private sector, SMEs, and people who do or run their own businesses. You tell them to buy health insurance, and one of the first things I hear is, "Oh, but I'm not sick. I don't go to the hospital." And it tells you that there's a lack of understanding of how health insurance works. And you don't get insurance because at the point when you need it, you get insurance before you need it and hope that you never need it. But that understanding is not there. So it's a combination of all of these factors that has kept us at this point where we have really low penetration in terms of cover for care.
And thanks for the breakdown. So can tech help in any way at all at this point? Where can it be applied that can assist, if at all?
Yes, so tech can help. Tech has already made a number of things that were not possible just 5 years ago, possible today. So let me start with some of the things that we've been doing at Medismarts. Previously, if you needed to get health insurance, you needed to fill out, lengthy paper forms. You had to submit these forms to the insurer, then they have to process it, and then you're registered. You may or may not be advised in time of your policy number. And even when you have your policy number, you're not really sure of what your plan benefits cover. So that leaves you guessing, do I have this thing or do I not have this thing? And so that was a black box that, a lot of people just threw their hands up in the air and said, this thing is just not worth it. But then we came in, as tech innovators and all of that to digitize this process. So today, it's easy to buy health insurance with some of the HMO partners on our platform, even have USSD USSD codes that you can dial to buy health insurance. And in 5 minutes, you're done with the process. You make payments using, your bank accounts linked to your phone number. You get your policy number immediately as a text message, and you can log into their mobile apps to start to, access care. You can see all of the plan benefits. You can see your limits. You can see what hospitals or providers you can access. So tech has made this possible. And the next frontier for us will be how to deepen health insurance penetration. So some of the things we are now trying to do is look at other areas or other sectors in the country that have, enjoyed massive success. We look at banking, for instance. We have, looking at the NIBS data, we have about 52 million confirmed accounts linked with BVNs. And, this tells you that, there are likely 52 million verifiable individuals who have a bank account in Nigeria. We should be able to tap into that integration to say, you can offer health insurance, to this existing markets using APIs and, some of the things that makes it easy for us now to provide this service, this health insurance as a service, if you may call it that, so that they don't have to worry about the technicalities and all of that. Just by plugging in a few APIs here and there, they are able to leverage on the technology to offer health insurance to customers of these banks. Then we look at the telecommunications sector. The NCC as at August has about 209 million active GSM subscribers. That's huge. So let's say that, people have multiple SIM cards and all of that. Even if we have it, that's still 100 million potential customers. And by leveraging, again, working with the telcos to leverage on the existing technologies that we've built, people should be able to pay for health insurance with their recharge cards. They should be able to subscribe maybe 100 naira per week or something, and they don't even feel it. But then when the need does arise to access healthcare, then they can, enjoy the benefits, because, we are really sitting on the time bomb in Nigeria. A lot of people are just one medical emergency away from bankruptcy. That's how.
Obinna, you've really touched on something for me, because part of accessibility, right, is cost. And so in Tokyo, what kind of ways are there for technology to help with the costs of health insurance premiums?
So two things. I'll start with data, right? Now, if I use the analogy of vehicle insurance, not everybody should pay the same thing. There are a lot of factors that they consider before, they give you an insurance premium. So things like the age of the car, the cost of it, at least in Nigeria, those are rudimentary, criteria. When you look outside of the country, it goes even deeper. They have your driving history. Have you been in an accident before? They have all of this information and data on you that helps them, give you the best premium for the kind of risk.
Do you park your car on the road, or do you have it in an enclosed space that people can't get next to it? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So health insurance should be like that. If you have pre-existing conditions, then you should be, you could pay a higher premium. But then for the average person who says, okay, I don't really go to the hospital that much, your data should show that, yes, you really don't access this service that much, and that should drive down the cost of your premium. But the way we have it today is that, health insurance companies, just create different tiers for their health plans, and that's it. It's either you buy one of what they have, or, So we need to get to the point where we can use data to create more flexible pricing for healthcare premiums. And then the second part of it will be to talk about a little bit about out-of-pocket payments. it forms, the largest portion of healthcare spend in Nigeria. So what can we do? Can we tap into that market as well to convert those people once they visited the hospital once and see that they do have a need, and try to prevent future out-of-pocket payments? So with data and the combination of reaching out to people like this, then we can, tech can help drive down the cost of healthcare premiums significantly.
Well, that's in depth, man. In depth. 5G. I know one of the telcos is just rolling it out. Does that in any way make any of what you've spoken about better? Are you excited for? I know that the country is big. Parts of the country are still on 3G, parts on 4G. Well, what's your take on this 5G rollout? Does it help your job and insurance and tech in any way at all?
Oh, yes, it does. Now, with the 5G rollout, we are going to get, insane speeds that we've never seen before in Nigeria. So I'm hoping also that it means improvement overall. So for areas where they've only had 3G, can they also get to maybe 4G if 5G rollouts are not possible in those places? So we're looking at the possibility of improving the internet penetration really in the country with the rollout of 5G. And this will definitely serve to deepen, access to health insurance when products are built, on top of this, tech stack and platforms.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Sope, any messages?
We've got a couple of minutes. So if we'll just take, let's see, probably enough for one more question.
Okay. Well, look, real quick, Obinna, just in 30 seconds or a minute, what's your outlook as far as where can we see an improvement going down the line over the next year, 2 years, 3 years? What's your outlook on the healthcare sector and technology and the merge between the two?
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking very encouraging right now. We are plagued by the mass exodus of tech talents. We are now also plagued by mass exodus of medical personnel, doctors, nurses. So from where I stand today, a lot really needs to change in the country, the economy and the likes, to make sure that we stop the bleeding, first of all, of talents. You can have the best tech in the world, but if you don't have medical personnel who are going to fulfill these services when patients walk into the hospital, then your tech is only, your technology can only do so much. So we need to solve those macroeconomic problems and stop the exodus of our talents. And then maybe eventually, when the middle class starts to grow, let's assume the government doesn't come up with ways to fund a national health insurance coverage for everyone. If the middle class grows naturally, once you're not trying to just eat, you have the ability to think clearly concerning other things, then yes, health insurance can be on the table and a consideration for you. So all of these things need to change if we even stand a chance of getting out of the rut we are in at the moment.
All right, and we'll end the show on this message in from Ogena Ochuko, who says this scheme is the best approach in funding our healthcare sector. Everyone should subscribe. Every techno subscribes, pay enough to stop the brain drain in this sector.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So, and that's that, people. We're done. It's been a very interesting conversation and lots to think about when it comes to healthcare and healthcare provision as well, and the role that tech has to play in it. But as everyone is always talking about the med drain and tech drain, I mean, isn't the whole point of tech like we can do all of this stuff, without borders? Well, most of it, not all of it. We'll keep some doctors in the country. Okay. All right, so big thank you to our guest for today, Obinna Osuji, who's the Chief Executive Officer at Medismarts Limited, and I love what you guys are doing and the plans that you have. And of course, Rotus, you can always find him online. He is at Rotancode, always dreaming up new topics for us to discuss on Tech Friday. So send whatever interests you his way, and we'll see if it can make it onto the show. All right, gentlemen, that's that. This is done for the week.